welcome to the Big Fat Gay Podcast, where we talk about the things that are weighing on our minds. My name is Dan Oliverio. I'm an author, public speaker, and chubby chaser. And today I feel cool. We're in our new recording space. And it's...
For now.
It's cool. I like cool.
Dan, they walked in and Dan's in shorts and a t-shirt and he's like, oh, it's perfect. And Don walks in a pullover flannel thing. It's like, oh my God, give me a blanket.
As I said.
I am literally buried under flannel right now.
I'm Trevor Keyson. I'm a super chub and I'm a little chilly. I don't know. It's February.
It's perfect. It's goddamn perfect.
It's February. It's chilly. Maybe you have your pink scarf. It's Valentine's Day. We buried the lead.
Valentine's Day, everybody.
Maybe you got your scarf and your sweater and your mittens, and you have some Valentines in your mittened hands.
God, you really are from Chicago. Growing up in Southern California, there is no such thing as Valentine's Day with mittens.
Yeah. I mean, it's 70. It's 80 degrees out now. It will be 87 degrees later. Yeah. Hopefully not in here, though. Hi, my name is Michael. I am a chaser, and today I'm here to take the pressure off of Valentine's Day for you. Have a fun day. Do whatever you want today. You don't have to feel like you need to be on a date, but if you are on a date, I hope you have a very good date today.
Yeah. Thanks for being our Valentine's today, dear listener. This is Don Marshall. I'm a big chubby guy here in sunny Hollywood, and today I'm joining Trevor on the chilly couch. We're on the chilly side of things.
Perfect.
But you know what? This is the ideal studio that Michael has finally found us. Like, we have security barriers out front to keep us safe.
That's true.
The sound barriers on the walls are actually quite attractive. Like, I haven't seen them in these patterns before. I really like this.
Yeah, it's called sound recording chic, and they're. I might get. He's kidding, but we're just in my new apartment. I moved. Everybody, I moved just across town.
Stop looking for him.
Different address. You'll never find me. I might put up. They make. I think Trevor, you're talking about this.
Yeah.
They make like nice looking, like kind of artistic styled sound padding, and I might actually get that. That's not a bad idea, because Don, being the one of the four of us who projects the most, he has also the most space in front of him to bounce his voice back, and I'm already hearing it. It's fine. We'll be fine, but I might act on that.
I didn't know I was the biggest projector of all of us.
Of the three of us, it's you and Dan, mostly you.
All right, we're going to have a projection off.
But wait till my allergies get cured. Boy,
I can
then
project
I'll be...
anything louder than you can. I can project anything louder than you.
Okay,
All right, well, welcome to the episode, everybody. It's kind of a weird vibe, but we're going in anyway.
Yeah. Happy Valentine's Day. As an update, baking update.
Oh, yes.
So I made the Milk Bar birthday cake.
Yes.
Which, oh my God.
I get to try
biggest pain. A lot of I'm like focusing on the technique and the chemistry I learned because their recipe is emulating box cake mix.
Okay.
Can I just say,
Why would you want to emulate?
Thank you.
box
Thank
cake?
you. Now I'll stop.
I kind of get it.
I get it, but I don't.
But
It's like making your own Doritos. You know they sell those.
yeah, well, yeah. And if you watch Binging with Babish, a lot of times he'll make something like Ritz crackers where he's like, these are fine. Just buy Ritz. They're better. They've perfected the art.
You're not buying real food anyway.
So my original cake did not turn out womp womp.
Oh, no.
It is a chemistry issue. I don't know exactly what. I think it's just I was trying to do a graham cracker cake.
Okay.
So the original recipe was like a family friends recipe. It was all graham cracker crumbs and it was really dense.
In the cake?
Yes.
Like, okay, interesting.
I found similar recipes where it was like a 3 parts graham cracker crumb, 1 part flour. So I went up equal parts graham cracker crumbs and flour.
I think the important thing is what it looked like at the end, which is imagine a beautiful 6-inch cake round, like a big 6-inch cake round disc, where the center touches the bottom and the edges are fully formed. So you could basically
that's interesting.
You could basically fill it with frosting and not increase the height.
Oh, wow.
You could fill it with 2 inches of frosting and not increase the height.
Interesting.
We thought maybe was it the egg content? Was it the gluten content of the flour? Because originally he did it with cake flour, and then I suggested AP flour. Anyway, but it's a delicious crumb. Like I would eat that cake with nothing. Just
it's
nothing.
delicious. It just does not work in this.
It's kind of like if you've ever had a butter cake, But imagine that with a graham cracker taste.
Okay.
It's
yeah.
amazing. It's amazing. Doesn't need a thing.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
It's Valentine's Day. Maybe you don't have a sunken cake. Maybe you have a box of chocolates. One of those.
I had to get one out of the way early.
It's a bit. You have a giant. It's the size of a coffee table box of chocolates, and you're going to work your way through as we read some listener mail and answer some questions about love, and romance, and
thank you, everybody.
Yes,
sending in lots of great questions. We got a lot of questions. We got some tough ones, some short and easy ones, some fun ones, we got all kinds of stuff. So I think we should get started. Who wants to go first? Who's starting us off?
So I think this first one's a nice, light, and easy way to get into it.
Yeah.
What are some fun stay-at-home Valentine's Day activities?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fun you can have here. Now, presumably this is like something you could do with a date or a partner, like not necessarily by yourself Valentine's activities.
Oh, I know what the stay-at-home solo Valentine's Day activity
is. Well, I can start us off here. I've never done this before, but it sounds really, really fun. So my younger sister and brother-in-law, who I lived with up until very recently, they have a Valentine's Day tradition because they both love to cook and bake, where they make they make a meal, but they choose a cuisine and then surprise each other with different dishes from that cuisine. Basically, cooking the meal sort of in semi-secret and preparing it, and then and plating it and saying like, okay, this is the first course, and it's a surprise for the other person, and then the other person says, okay, here's the second course, and whatever.
You got some complicated relatives.
Cooking and baking in my family is a pretty big deal. So
what's the Christmas tale where it's like the couple?
The gift of the Magi.
Yeah, I'm imagining like a cooking. What would the cooking version of that would be? So like I'm imagining a Valentine's gift of the Magi with this cooking in secret thing.
You work on that, baby. You work on that.
I like it because, I mean, in their case, it works because they both love food, and like that's the point.
But how do you prepare a meal in secret in the same kitchen is what I'm trying to get at.
I mean, I think it's just like the honor system. Like, okay, I'm working over here. Like, don't look. Peek. It's like, I think the fun of it is being surprised.
That's part of the fun.
Yeah, like
no Charlotte's going on here.
Yeah, like you.
It's not like one of them's going to win if they get to the finish line first, and the other one hasn't guessed what they're making.
Yeah, no, Trevor always wins Valentine's Day.
I just liked it because it has an element of surprise to it, and I think a lot of great, like something fun that you can do with a partner or a date or whatever is, a safe surprise. Like if you know that it's generally something they're going to be into, taking a chance, creating something, going out on a limb and having like a surprise fun moment.
Okay, so let me riff off that. I have like a simplified, if you don't really cook version of that, which is, okay, this is going to sound strange, but a bar not necessarily with alcohol, although, that's always festive. But a bar... This is
peanut butter bar.
You could have a peanut butter bar, which I've done a couple of times, where you basically change you have like a white chocolate peanut butter, a dark chocolate peanut butter, a cinnamon peanut butter, a chili peanut butter, and it's sort of a spread. And it can be very romantic to try stuff and put stuff in each other's mouth, but it doesn't have to be peanut butter. It could be salsa, chips and salsa. It could be different sorts of coffee cakes or confections. And again, you could buy all of this at the store.
Yeah.
You don't have to make it. You could make it. But I think it's this idea of sharing a selection of stuff. Yeah. So you get to try and experiment, which would be fun.
Not that this necessarily applies to anybody in the room, but what about some like for people who don't necessarily care that much about food or want something
Who are they?
Like, I don't know. Apparently there are people out there.
Well, the first thing to mention is, a lot of us have been in lockdown for over 2 years at this point. And so those of us who've been with our partners during that time may have already tried to do some romantic moments aside from Valentine. Make Valentine's Day special. Don't repeat, right? Like try and find something different than what your normal go-to romance moves are, right?
Okay.
And I think if they know if that's the situation, you probably know them to a point where you can do something sort of funny that will make them laugh, or something simple that will touch them by presenting them something that is very specific to them. That's all I'm saying. It's like Personalized.
Yeah.
Decorate the apartment in a way that you know will appeal to them, and for that special day. Surprise them.
I'm a fan of the throw, like the callback surprise, like something that maybe like, I don't know if you guys have had this experience, but like when you first start dating, like those first few months, like kind of that honeymoon period, and you're kind of just like running wild and riffing off each other, and whatever dynamic you have at the time is not necessarily what the relationship grows into. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times those earlier things just stay in that period of time. And I think calling back to that in some way.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Like I think an easy one would be like a show that you watched, right in the early, like I showed Michael my favorite show, 30 Rock. And that was very early on. And we've been watching other things since. But I think I want to like start that up again and like, hey, let's watch season 1.
You should make cheesy blasters.
Take a hot dog, put it
with some jack cheese, stuff it in a pizza.
Yeah, me neither.
You got cheesy blasters.
Me neither.
Thanks, me cat.
I think something.
But the only thing I would say about that is I would like, that sounds like such a Trevor thing to do for me. Mm-hmm. And I'm so scared I would forget what the fuck it is.
Like, that's why I wouldn't do it.
He knows you by now.
I think something.
That would be part of his gift to you, not doing it.
Well, the advantage of that is he could do anything and tell me it was something in a relationship. I'll go, oh, right.
Good job.
If we're not trying to do too many food things, originally I was going to suggest like get some, like a tube of sugar cookie dough, do like heart cut out cookies and decorate cookies. I always think that's kind of fun. An alternate, the non-food version of that would be go to like Michael's or whichever. I know a bunch of the craft shops are problematic in their political ideology.
Yeah.
So I don't know, whatever the
Hobby Lobby is, I think,
the
the worst.
one.
Yeah, that's the
but
worst.
I feel like Michael's is bad too. Anyway.
Yeah, Michael's isn't great.
Get a bunch of like glitter, construction paper, pipe cleaners, maybe some googly eyes, maybe some little bedazzler
Googly eyes
gems,
make anything cute.
and do some handmade Valentines and really just kind of crayons.
Yeah, kind of a throwback to when, like you're a kid in like first, second grade and everyone has to make Valentines for each other. Yeah, I like that.
Well, here's the question I have on that. So for the people who aren't in relationships, how do you feel about, or how does it land having a close friend over and doing this?
I think that could be fun.
Is that cloying, or is it like, no, is it too much of a reminder of what you were supposed to be celebrating, but trying to approximate?
I think it, personally, I mean, I don't know. I'm in a relationship, so it's hard for me to say, but I can see that being really fun.
Galentine's Day.
Yeah, Galentine's Day.
I have no idea what that is.
You should know this, Don.
Yeah,
it's from Parks and Rec.
But I think get some cheap rosé from Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Go really all out pipe cleaners, little gems, googly eyes.
Yeah,
and
like you can do your thing.
Maybe watch
like
Bridget Jones or something.
So like a crafts party, a collage party.
Yeah.
Or whatever's interesting, whatever your dynamic is.
Cookie decorating. People love cookie decorating.
Cupcake decorating.
I think so. For me, the tripping point for a lot of this kind of stuff is like, I don't know, maybe it's laziness or maybe it's just lack of motivation. But a lot of times I'm like, I don't know if I really. But then if I ever actually do end up doing stuff like that, it's always exponentially more fun than you think it will be.
Yes.
Like even if it doesn't sound that appealing, the fact that you're doing it with somebody, that you're, drinking if you drink
Once
or
you
whatever.
get into it, yeah.
Like, yeah, you can really make it. And the thing is, you probably haven't done most of these things recently, if in the last 10, 15, 20 years. And
That's just the second grade.
It's there's a kind of a fun throwback vibe to it.
And seeing adults get into arts and crafts, there is a change you can see, and people just really kind of like, I don't know. It's nice to see that like people get in touch with their inner child and really just like get into like glue sticks.
Yeah.
When it gets you out of your head.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do it for friends, one of the things that I always love is the surprise Valentine, right? We're like, I know your schedule well enough to know you're going to be opening this drawer at some point today. So there's going to be something in that drawer that you're not expecting.
This is because of the cameras you put in their apartment, right?
I'm imagining
the
like,
horse head from Godfather.
No, just like Don doing this, and then it's like 8 months later, someone goes into the drawer like, "What the hell?"
Like, I was wondering why you never mentioned the puppy I left for you.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ. I went to like a rotting cupcake, but yeah, dead puppies. Let's have that in there.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
All right, well, I think that's some ideas there. How should we?
Let's end on dead puppies. Good idea.
Yeah.
Actually, one last
Always
one.
end on a downer.
If something dorky that I did once with somebody was a sexual board game. They sell them in adult bookstores.
And you played it or bought it for them?
We played it, and it was weird and different and memorable.
Okay,
you know? So if you're looking for something just out of left field, maybe give it a thought.
Okay, I'd be curious. I think it depends on who it's with, but yeah.
Well, whoever rolls doubles first is in for a great time.
That just makes me think of sex dice. And then there was a thing in The Simpsons where it's like they're trying to use sex dice and they keep getting weird things. So it's like spank hair. And then there's one that's like whisper into ass.
I mean, yeah, you could make that work. You could make that hot or at least funny. Yeah. All right. Next question. This is a good one for me. What is it like having a partner / boyfriend on Valentine's Day?
Oh, this was like
it just broke my heart.
It is. It is sad.
I think I can count on one hand or maybe even one finger the number of Valentine's Days I haven't been with a partner as an adult. So I don't have a large point of comparison here. Yeah.
I would have known what Trevor thinks because, okay, so Trevor's really good at holidays and gift giving, like super good at it. And I mean, even if I were good at it, I wouldn't be as good, and I'm not good at it. So for me, Valentine's Day with a partner, particularly my partner, is like, oh shit, what am I going to do? shit, it's Monday. What am I going to do?
Well, I don't know.
The pressure.
So speaking to that, so I think, I don't know, Valentine's Day for like Dan and I is interesting because I don't know. I feel like a lot of holidays have kind of gotten this way where it's like low stakes.
I have successfully lowered your expectations really well.
We tried to go out one year.
Oh, it's awful.
And it was like the worst dinner experience.
Yeah.
We were in the worst table in the restaurant and like it was a prefix menu that was really expensive.
Everybody hates it. The waiters hate it. The owners hate it. The people hate it.
Nothing. I had to get food later because nothing on the menu I really ate because it was all like seafood based and we didn't know that.
I think taking the pressure off of it is a really good approach. Like, so like, yeah, we talk about the listener's question, like, what is it like? I think it can feel like a lot of pressure. Yeah. Like it really can.
I was going to say, what does it feel like to have a partner on Valentine's Day? It feels like a pain in the ass, but that's not romantic. I won't say that.
Well, and there's probably a difference between going on a Valentine's Day date with somebody you've only been dating for a few months or whatever. But for me, I've never really done big Valentine's Day things. Like so most of my relationships have been long distance, and for whatever reason, almost all Valentine's Days have happened separate. So like I've usually been partnered, but not actually with anybody on Valentine's Day. And I think I would have to go back to like 2015, 2014 to get back into those days. And I would say the best Valentine's Day I had as far as like doing a thing, like a special thing, was an ex of mine took me on I think I mentioned this last year too, Marilyn Monroe tour of LA. She grew up mostly in LA. And for me at the time, that was really special because I was really into Marilyn Monroe. And that was cool. But I think it was particularly fun because it wasn't, like Trevor was saying, it's not specifically geared towards Valentine's Day or like romance or dating. Like if you go to that restaurant that has the special menu, and that just creates this sort of environment of, okay, we got to have a good time now. Like we're here.
I mean, I would almost tell people
not to do that.
Never go to a restaurant for Valentine's Day. Yeah. Just don't do it. It'll be the most money you ever spent not having a great time.
I think in the same way that you don't want to just don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Really try not to.
I mean, I remember, before Trevor and I were together, Valentine's Day was just like, it was another night to have a date. And so a lot of my, I don't do one night stands just because I'm not wired that way. So I had a lot of friends with benefits. And so like I'd pick a friend that I had benefits with, and I'd like, hey, do you want to go out on Valentine's Day? And they go, oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
So
I've had the opposite experience actually, where I've asked people that like I thought I had an easy enough relationship with to spend Valentine's Day together, and it nuked it. Like they thought I was like,
they thought they were,
like inviting them to your cousin's wedding.
Yeah. They thought I was making overtures to a long-term relationship.
I think it's how you set it up, but yeah.
Yeah. So just be cautious on making sure that you're understood. Because I think it might suck too if somebody thought you were asking them for something more serious and you weren't.
I think that does become the overthinking it thing on their part in that case.
Yeah.
Like
no, but you got to be clear. There is an expectation if you invite someone out for Valentine's Day where it's not, well, of course we're going, that you got to be clear. Are we taking this to another level, or is this just because it's the 14th of February, or,
I think that's, for me, that's always been one of the more stressful parts of Valentine's Day. Also because I've been sort of treated badly by chasers for wanting to go out on Valentine's Day, as we've discussed in the past. There are some chasers who are like, don't want to be seen in public with us. So, so there are some scars attached to this holiday too. So
that's fair.
Be patient with yourself on Valentine's Day.
What do you think of this idea of moving Valentine's Day? Like we're going to go out the 15th.
I'm very pro moving it.
We're going to go. We're going to do our Valentine's Day the 15th.
Yeah,
and then that goes along with
like taking the pressure off.
And fuck the 15th, September 12th.
If you want,
our Valentine's
but I want it close enough that it is our Valentine's Day, but not on the day because there's just so much falderall and pressure and blah.
The day after, because then you can get bulk discounts
on the candies. Right. Yes, exactly.
I can never find that anymore. They're always gone off the shelves by Valentine's Day Eve.
That's because you sleep in.
I mean, that's what I'm going to end up doing for better or worse. Michael's flying in to visit on the 15th. And so, and whatever. I will say, just to get back to the listener's question, what is it like to have a partner or boyfriend on Valentine's Day? I think there are two things. One, it doesn't really have to be all that different from any other day having a partner or boyfriend. Like, I don't think it has to be all that different. And two, people usually take that as an opportunity to like, oh, well, I've got to do a thing. Like I've got to do a thing for somebody. And just keeping in mind that people have very different ways of receiving affection and giving affection. And if, for instance, you buy somebody flowers and you feel like that's a really romantic gesture or a way to make them feel good, understanding that some people just don't receive gifts. It's the love languages thing. It's like they don't necessarily receive gifts as a way of expressing love and affection. And so sometimes if you go a little bit out on a limb, like, oh, I've never gotten them flowers before, but I've always wanted to, and I think it would be really romantic, and they get them and they're like, oh, cool, thanks, flowers. And they don't really feel what you want them to feel. Try not to build so much expectation on top of that, especially if maybe you're a newer couple and you haven't figured that stuff out yet. Yeah, and just if you're on the receiving end, just understanding that this is that person's expression, and that you try and figure out a way to receive it better.
I think where Trevor triumphs so well at this is that you get people really well, but you're also really artsy crafty, and so when those two marry, oh my God, you're just genius.
Yes. End of podcast.
Good point, Dan. Well done.
Yeah.
All right.
I try not to compete with that.
I think also just like the part of that and like getting that. And I think also just like a great gift you can give to someone is being like, we are not going to do the gift thing.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like, I've had that with friends where it's like, my gift to you is like, you don't have to get me a gift. And they're like, oh my God.
I would say
they're so happy.
Some people really just love giving gifts. And as the person who experiences by default a fair amount of guilt when I receive a gift, I feel like I have to have gotten them a gift. Like it is an interesting thing. And I've had to sort of teach myself that that's not what people mean, that they actually genuinely just want to give a gift. And
do you even think you should give a better gift?
I get hung up on gifts because if I don't have the perfect gift, I won't get one for the person. Like I have to have the perfect, thoughtful, but still like It has to be emblematic of who they are and useful for them, but also make them feel something when they get it and go like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting. Like it has to have all of the boxes checked or I won't get them something.
Right. And you have to walk across a chasm blindfolded at the time, right?
Yeah.
It feels like maybe that's letting like perfect get in the way of the good.
But it's just, I mean,
I get it.
Because giving gifts is not a love language of mine. And so it doesn't come naturally.
Exactly.
I have to, if I'm going to do it, I have to do it so well that I could never possibly experience like rejection or disappointment from that person for giving the gift.
No, I totally get that. And then all I have to say is, so imagine living with Trevor.
I think there's a question this is a good segue too.
Yeah. Okay.
What is the worst Valentine's Day gift you could give? Peloton.
Yes, don't get somebody an exercycle. That would not be good.
Or I need gym membership.
Yeah.
Like one thing I think would be awesome if like someone came into my house and took out my Peloton. Like that would be kind of awesome. Just replaced it with like a hat rack or something, since that's what it's doing anyway.
Or a massage chair.
Or a buffet.
This is probably a hot take, and hopefully,
brace yourselves.
I think really anything that is like super Valentine's Day-y, like anything from the Valentine's Day aisle at Walgreens. I don't know. I have very strong feelings about like the vibrating, singing heart, plush things.
Yeah.
How about a singing, dancing bobblehead doll? Like Valentine's Day bobblehead doll? Like with
I guess it depends on what the doll is.
The withering look that Trevor just gave me.
I don't.
Let's go into specifics. What is the worst Valentine's gift you've ever received? What was the most either disappointing or annoying or baffling gift? Do you have any specifics?
I don't really have. I mean, if I have any, I've blocked them out.
I think mine would be what Trevor said. Like, it's not that I'm never going to take offense. Like I will say that, like, it's never like, oh my God, I can't believe you got me. No, it's like what lands the least successfully. And I really hope that I'm not setting myself up for failure if Michael like does this, but we've recorded the episode already. But like what Trevor was saying, like anything that's like super cheesy, like I can get behind cheese. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Something that's like cutesy, but something that is prepackaged, like straight out of Hallmark.
Yeah, giving something cutesy as though it's a straightforward, real, heartfelt gift.
Yeah. Like I can take cutesy if it's personalized. Yeah. Like if it's our thing and you wrote it or made it by hand or like at least.
Or take some cutesy and embellish it with your own touches.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? That'd be awesome. I'd be all over that.
Literally just like the teddy bear with the generic like heart from.
Why is a teddy bear stuffed in it? Well, okay. So let's break this down. One of these things. It's a stuffed bear, which is cute. Yes, got it. But then it has a big stuffed heart that it's holding.
Yeah.
And like it doesn't really, it's just confusing and also weird.
I will say
it's like its hands are sewn to a giant heart.
The teddy bear, I have gotten a teddy bear holding a heart gift, I think at least 1 or 2 times before. And it's a little weird because what do you do with it after that? Like it's really locked into Valentine's Day.
Yeah, because it's awkward to throw it away. Mm-hmm. But if you don't throw it away, then you've got a teddy bear holding a heart.
Like where do you put it?
Yeah, hanging out in your apartment for the rest of your life.
No, you're missing the difficulty here. The difficulty is not throwing it away. It's how do you throw it away without them knowing you threw it away?
Sure, yeah. I mean, accurate.
No, I mean the something that Trevor and I, or that Trevor learned about me early on in our relationship is I don't have a lot of value for stuff. That is not my love language, right? Mm-hmm. So, and his family is all about stuff. Mm-hmm. Like giving you anything is better than giving you nothing. Mm-hmm. And I was raised the other way around. Like if you're going to give me something, it better be wonderful. Mm-hmm. So for a lot of early Christmases for Trevor's family, like I got stuff because they didn't really know me. So it's like, here, have some stuff. and I remember I had a gift from a boyfriend. And it was what you guys said. It was that like this callback to an earlier part of the relationship that I didn't remember. Oh, so it occurred as stuff.
Well, yeah, I think if you're gonna give somebody a callback gift, you
better make sure that you're both on the same page with it,
and make sure by saying, "Hey, remember when this happened? This is when." Like, at least give them a cue.
Prime them for it. Yeah,
That's a great idea. Don't just hand it to them and say, and wait for them to get it.
That's what happened.
That's awkward. And even if they do remember, like people like me and Dan, you do need to be prompted. Like maybe at that point you remember, maybe you don't.
Well, it was based on a pet name that I seldom used, but sometimes did.
Okay.
And so it was like a little doll of this pet name.
Yeah.
Is this the seal?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Stop there.
That's tough. Yeah.
I just want to say I feel I really hope we didn't upset anyone with the really ragging on the bear holding the stuffed cart.
If it works for you, it works for you. This is just us.
Yeah, let's be absolutely clear. There are some people out there that is going to be Cupid's arrow.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
The frog, like I feel like there's frogs with lips is like a big thing.
I mean, I could see it being where like if you haven't had a memorable Valentine's Day ever, if this is your first one and you really just want, like, if having that experience is that much more meaningful just because you've never had it, go for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, don't let us tell you not to.
Oh, Bear with a Heart's going to work. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
God, I feel like there's. It's the person in the car. So I just kind of picture driving around,
just like
and they have,
veering past CVS.
The bear, like a huge bear with a heart in the passenger seat. Like, what the fuck?
I like that the person in the car is always angry. They're never like crying or disappointed. They're just like, you assholes.
He's been in LA too long.
Like speeding through the yellow light. Like, all right.
So this is a very interesting question, especially for me. So the listener asks, what's a good movie to watch after hooking up? Do you watch it or do you go to sleep? I don't get this. Explain it to me.
Fascinating. I don't know that I've ever,
Yeah, watching a movie post hookup is not normally on my agenda.
I could see, well.
And do you mean just like on your own or with the person?
I kind of like this though. Hold on, let's break it down because I think what we're thinking of is like if you're hooking up late enough in the evening, like after you've done all the things that you would have done, like maybe you do dinner, maybe you do whatever, and then you hook up and then it's like, 10, 11, 12, whatever. You're probably none of us are going to be in movie watching mode. But what if you hook up so much earlier in the evening that you've taken the will they, won't they thing off the table entirely?
You skipped dinner and gone straight to dessert.
And now everything that follows is such a good vibe because you don't have to, like, if there's any question of whether or not you were going to hook up, now you're just free to enjoy the evening. You've gotten it out of the way. And so at that point, let's watch a movie. Let's cuddle on the couch. Like, I think that could be really good vibes. I think that could be really fun. And like a way to switch it up where, that whole like this would only really apply to somebody who is like dating, like, maybe you've done a few dates or whatever. But that like, are we going to do this? If so, when? Is it going to be the end of the evening? Is that weird if we've already eaten and do it earlier, get it on.
I mean,
Dan's got a look on his face like,
because I've never had a movie and in a date. Maybe going to the cinema.
But that's not your thing though.
No, it's not.
That is specifically not your thing.
No, and I've had guys over and they're like, "Can we turn on the TV?" I'm like, "Of course not." Why would we turn on the TV?
I have had this kind of experience where the listeners writing about. More often, I've had the opposite, where it's like, "Oh, let's watch something," wink, like Netflix and chill. I will say
beforehand,
the worst thing I have ever watched during a let's get sexy was The Fourth Kind.
I don't think I know that movie.
It's a horror movie, I assume.
Yeah, like horror movie, fake documentary about alien abduction.
Okay,
just like them really making a move on me during like a truly horrific scene in the movie.
No, you can't.
People like in bed, like the woman's husband is like being killed in bed next to her.
Would you go so far as to say then that a horror movie is not a good pre-hookup film?
Yes.
I think there's a rule. It has to be a campy horror movie.
Yeah.
If you both like horror movies, if you're going to do the whole horror movie hookup, I would say one you've already seen before, so that neither of you is sitting there like, but I want to see this. And B, campy, fun, silly, over the top, not a serious horror movie at all.
I'm going to say no matter what genre you're watching, don't watch a movie you want to watch when you're hooking up with someone.
Yeah,
good point.
Being a movie guy myself and having had this experience very few times, but it does come up where you're in the room and you actually just want to watch the movie. If you're doing like a date night thing like this or Valentine's Day, pick a movie that you either both already like, even if you haven't watched it together. I would say that's almost ideal. I don't think we did this for Valentine's Day, but Michael and I at one point did kind of a date night thing where we both, I'm sort of showing my gay card here, but we both love Devil Wears Prada. Like, love that movie. I could quote the whole movie.
It's a great movie.
It's a fantastic movie.
That's a good post-hookup movie.
So that I think would be great. We both love that movie, had not watched it together yet.
Oh, okay, perfect.
And so you both know the movie, you want to see it.
Well, and you don't know each other's reactions to it. That's
and
really
you get
great.
that experience of like, that's what they're into. And then like somebody starts quoting a line and you both say it together, like you get a cute moment like that. Like, I think, Devil Wears Prada is my vote for sure.
But the reason it's your vote, though, is you both like it, but had not seen it together.
Yeah, exactly.
My vote will be the Brady Bunch movie.
Yes. I have done that as a hookup movie, and it was a wonderful experience.
I can see
Don
that.
endorses it.
I can see that.
I haven't seen it. Why?
I am not going to say anything.
Okay.
Either
Try
you
it,
need
just
to watch
try
it or we will watch
All right,
it.
Tuesday night, Michael gets here. Brady Bunch movie is happening. I'll report back.
The sequel is also very good.
Yeah,
Maybe a double
both
feature.
of them are fantastic.
Which is unusual.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. It's not an ironic thing.
I
It's a
think you
legit
are going to
thing.
love it. I am
You'll love it. We're not going to say anything more.
Okay.
And next podcast.
I've never watched the Brady Bunch, the show. Like, so is that?
I
Does
think
that
you'll
matter?
still
Do you have an idea of what the Brady
I know
Bunch
what it is. Yeah, I know
You'll
what it
be
is.
fine.
I mean, the only thing is you'll miss the tropes. You know, there'll be a statue and you'll be like, what about the statue? I'm like, oh my God, the statue episode.
Yeah, I won't get that stuff.
You won't
for
get
sure.
that.
Yeah.
But I think you'll still appreciate it because
Okay.
I think a lot of people who've seen it do not really get all the Brady Bunch lore.
Well, all right, I'll do that next episode. I'll report back and let you know.
Okay.
Yeah. We're cruising through these, but we've stacked the shortest, easiest questions first. So.
Yeah.
So we've kind of, I feel like we've talked about this before, but I always think it's good to revisit.
Yeah.
How do chub chasers make three-ways work given different looks and tastes?
I mean, not having participated in a three-way before, I don't actually know, but having talked to friends of mine outside of even the show, I think it requires at least one person who likes both or all types. Like somebody who isn't locked into, or maybe doesn't require, but like works best, maybe. I don't know.
I would go farther. I think if you're not all three into each other to some degree, it doesn't have to be equal degrees, but to some degree. If the only reason you're in the three-way is to get the other guy, no, that's not going to work.
Well, and maybe even if the only reason you're in the three-way is just to have a three-way and check it off your list, that may not be great either.
And I would also say, because the way the question is worded, how do chub chasers make three-ways work? Sometimes they don't. And a lot of times they don't. So I would say that it's not a question of making it work. I would say it's a question of it is possible that you and I guess the partner, I mean, there's two of you at some point and you're looking for a third, right? So at some point there's just two of you. It is possible that you are a disjunct set, that you and this particular other person are not going to find anybody. And that's okay. That's actually not necessarily a problem unless you have this rule that no, we have to play together. Which are in some cases, like for some couples, that's the only way they get non-monogamy is by bringing in a third. And that can be problematic if that's a rule and you also have disjunct tastes.
Right.
I mean, I know for me, like I do not want to be with two chubs. That's a management problem.
So one of the things I heard from a friend of mine who's been involved in these sorts of situations was that for him, it requires the friendship, like being close friends or partnered with everybody involved, like an existing degree of closeness,
Intimacy.
Yeah, intimacy, whatever, like that exists. I mean, I don't think this is necessarily a rule for everybody, but unless you have all three participants who are equally invested in the idea of one night stands, and then fine, whatever, go for it. And then nobody has to be that invested.
Well, I mean, I can see a couple doing that, like a couple having a stable relationship and they bring in a one-off.
Yeah.
I can see that.
But the ones that I've heard that have sounded the most successful are the ones where it's like, yeah, we're all three very much, we're in the community together, whether or not we're all equally attracted to the other person. We all have an equal amount of intimacy existing already. Whether it's two people dating and a third who's a friend or a close friend, that sounds good to me. Like that sounds successful to me. Yeah.
I feel like I was very lucky in that I have had a three-way experience, and I did not participate in the planning of it. I was kind of ambushed by it.
I remember your story about
Yeah, I think I've told it on the podcast
Oh,
before.
yeah. Ambush is a good word.
Yeah. But, well, and mind you, this is an ambush I have no complaints over. There's no regrets.
It turned out well. Yeah.
Yeah, it turned out well. But in that particular situation, it was two different chasers that were good friends with each other. And I don't know what their motivation was to work together like that.
I can see it. No, I would totally, like, that's my ideal.
It's called a
thing.
pincer movement.
But it was honestly, what a wonderful gift. Like, I remember that experience extremely fondly. And not just from like a sexual hijinks perspective. Like, that meant a lot to me that, that two people would converge like that because of their desire to be with me. Right. And that is a gift that you give to someone else. So
cool.
Yeah.
I like that approach. The pincer movement.
I mean,
Chasers of the world.
No, I mean, that makes it sound so manipulative, but no, I mean, to me, that's my ideal. Like I said, I don't want to be with two chubs. But like to be with another chaser, especially because, you've heard Michael and I talk about chasers have so much in common, and we have a sexual vibe in common, but we're not really sexual with each other like a dyad, like a couple. And so for me, having another chaser with a chub is kind of a way to experience something that I would never normally get to experience.
Yeah.
And we're both into that chub. And so the chubs, like you report, you're lit up like a Christmas tree.
Oh, it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah. And I love giving people that sort of thing. I mean, it's not the purpose behind it, but I love when that happens. And so, yeah, I think it's like a win-win and win situation.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think the negotiations are always so exhausting. I also I'm just kind of thinking of an experience that Dan and I had where someone wanted kind of approached a three with us, but like really wanted to like ease into it in a way that was odd, and like wanted to have like a sleepover and sleep in bed with us.
We've had a couple of really backdoor, pardon the pun, maneuvers where it's like, we should all have a sleepover. I'm like, what? And it was an invitation to three-way. We had one guy who kind of just started disrobing in our living room while we're all watching television.
Yeah, that was
That was odd. And
like, but it was our couch at the time was like it was broken. So it was kind of just, it was an odd maneuver. It was like sliding down the couch as like the shirt was going up and the pants were kind of coming down, and we were just kind of watching this like.
And do you need help?
Like, yeah,
well, like, you having a stroke?
But see, I can totally understand how like this sounds like a good idea in my head. This sounds like, it'll go like this, and then something will happen, and then
it's like oops.
But
look at that.
But it sounds so much easier than actually having a conversation about it.
Yeah. But for something, I mean, I don't know, who knows? I could be completely wrong here, but it feels like that does kind of need to be talked about, like ahead of time. Does that ever just happen organically, like in the moment where nobody's
I can imagine. I mean, here's the deal. I can imagine it happening perfectly that way, and yet I think I've only seen it in porn movies.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I get. Like, is it? The only way I can see that happening
is
like,
that way, right?
If everyone's already at least somewhat friends and everybody's kind of drinking,
and I think that was, and I think that was where both of these people were.
It sounds like they imagined a degree of intimacy that wasn't quite there yet.
No, they imagined a degree of intimacy that was there, but that did not imply sex, because intimacy is not the same as sex.
Yeah.
It's involved in sex. It's an umbrella that subsumes sex, but it's not the same.
And makes it better, I would say.
Oh, yeah, because I'm not interested in sex without intimacy.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's, I can see where this was a completely reasonable idea on both their parts.
All right. Well, we're only halfway through this. We got some more interesting, saucier. Not saucy, actually. We got some complex questions coming up. So this is the end of part one. We're going to have more coming up on Wednesday, but enjoy this Valentine's Day treat, a Monday episode. Who would have thought? And we'll be back in a couple days with part two.